and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV where people feel fear but do it anyways. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge All-Stars Rivals, aka The Challenge All-Stars Season 5, Episode 8. And we're gonna jump right into it as I'm excited to see that Shane still has his hair helmet, or hairmet, that he had in season 32. Maybe he upgraded it and it is a newer model, but regardless, he still has the hair helmet and he'll do it all day long, as he says, which is hitting your cranium with red light 24 hours good for you? Maybe it'll make his hair longer and more luscious. Frank is getting closer and closer with Veronica and Katie, but also their close alliance members of Adam and Steve. Now this is an interesting development because Frank is the person that threw Adam and Steve's name out there in episode 2, rallied the whole house to send them in multiple times in back-to-back weeks, but now we've gotten to a point where Adam is asking Frank, would you have my back over Ashley, your real-world castmate and somebody you have been friends with for nearly 12 to 13 plus years? And I have to applaud Frank here because so many more challengers, I feel, would just say, yes, I'll have your back, I'll always look out for you, and just lie. But instead, Frank says, in this scenario, if I had to choose between Ashley or you to send into elimination, I will always have Ashley's back. I think it's interesting, as well as I think it balances out where people are saying that Frank is so shady, yet he's willing to tell the truth directly to someone's face, even if it's not something they would like to hear. But now it's time to talk about the Turbo in the living room, and that is Turbo sleeping in the living room. It is a communal area. However, Turbo seems to have foregone his bed. The problem is, it's a communal area. People are hanging out. They're like eating in the living room. They're constantly partying in the living room. There's conversations happening in the living room in all hours of the night because maybe somebody's sleeping in their bedroom and they want to go talk somewhere else, but inside because it's hot. Well, things really start to bubble over because in the morning prior to going to the daily challenge, Adam is eating his breakfast in the living room and Turbo tells him to clean up after himself. Don't leave it in the living room because I have to clean up the living room all the time. Now, as someone who would go onto a reality show and probably be cleaning every single dish if I went to Big Brother or The Challenge, I am the person that likes to have a neat, tidy house. So I understand where Turbo is coming from, but people are interpreting that Turbo is getting angry about people just hanging out in the living room when this is for everybody. This isn't your bedroom. I think there's a little bit of miscommunication here because I do think that Turbo just wants a clean, tidy living room. Maybe it's in the bias of because he's sleeping in there, but also just to have a neat, tidy house that where you don't have gunked up plates all over the place. But at the same time, I'm sure that it is how he said it more so than what he said. I mean, Adam is Turbo's rival #1 in this house because he's farting and leaving plates all over the place and he's loud. Then you have Nany jumping in because it is too early in the morning for Turbo to be yelling at people, and then Melissa also gets in on this. It is a mess, and this is not the last time they will talk about Turbo sleeping in the living room. But we're gonna put a pin in this for now as everybody dons their challenge gear, head down to meet up with TJ for this week's daily challenge called Shooting for the Star. Now, TJ says that this is the sickest challenge that they will ever do. Well, you might be asking yourself, what will they be doing in this daily challenge? Well, they're going to solve a pipe puzzle, and then they're going to jump on an ATV, hit the gas, and then reach their arms out to touch a star. Yep, that is it. It is very similar to the Hot Rod Challenge going over the cliff in season 40, Battle of the Eras. I'll be honest, that challenge was boring. This challenge was boring. I mean, all you're doing is a pipe puzzle and then just jumping and having to touch a star. I mean, how many ATVs are they dumping into this water and ruining? I hope they're picking them up. These are perfectly fine ATVs and they're just dumped into the water. I don't understand this. I don't find this sick. I don't find this interesting. I get if you're doing it, it's a lot more interesting, but just watching people do the same pipe puzzle and then jumping on an ATV to ride off the cliff and touch a star, I would say go back to the drawing boards because I don't find this very exciting. First one up is Frank and Sam, and they do this challenge. Ashley and Dario do actually pretty well. Given that this is a puzzle to start things off, they do have experience on ATV, as we hear from Dario's confessional. They end up in the top 4 finishes, in line to possibly win this challenge. Nany and Turbo are next, and Turbo is able to get this puzzle really quickly. They jump on the ATV. Turbo hits the star, and Nany does this like anaconda grip on him to where he's like, you're crushing my lungs. But they also end in the top 4. Devon and Shane do an incredible job. They end in the top 4. We get to a point where both Nicole, Melissa, Katie, and Veronica do the puzzle. I will say Nicole and Melissa take the longest on this puzzle, but both teams get the puzzle done. They both get on the ATV, but they don't give it enough juice, as both come up short in touching the star, just completely taking them out of the running of possibly winning, because touching the star was a major prerequisite to be considered for winning. And finally, you have Adam and Steve, who go last. They crush this thing. They also are in the top 4 consideration of possibly winning. And when it comes down to it, Adam and Steve win yet again. This is where everybody goes back to the house, clean up, go to the bar, and we catch up with Ashley and Dario, who seem to know that they are most likely going to be voted into the elimination. They are a star holder, and they just feel like this will be another time that they will be the house vote and will be sent into the elimination. We catch up with Veronica talking to Shane, where Veronica wants Shane to vote Turbo and Nany. But Shane pushes back on this because, as we heard last week, Devon is very close with Nany, and the idea of voting in a strong team that has a good possibility of going into elimination and coming back spells doom for their team. He tells Veronica, you have the votes already. If you want to send Turbo and Nany in, you don't need my vote. The divide that we saw between Shane and Veronica last week seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and I think this goes past Frank, who does hear his name be mentioned quite a bit during this conversation, comes over, and it doesn't help that Frank sits down. The conversation abruptly comes to an end where everybody dissipates and nothing more is said until the next day at the house vote and beyond. Another conversation that doesn't end well at the bar is Turbo, who is sleeping in a different area. He's in like a booth by himself sleeping when Melissa wants to have a conversation with him, and she is upset with how Turbo talks to other people. Turbo, who was having a nap at the bar, is now feeling attacked by both Nany and Melissa, and everything just erupts to a level that just didn't need to happen, you know? Look, I get it. He's telling you to shut up. It's not a very conducive living environment, but at the same time, Turbo was just napping, being by himself. Why stir him up like this? I don't know. Was this the time or place? I don't think so. But now, it's the time and place to go to the house vote, where it feels like there's an avalanche in voting in Ashley and Dario. You got Turbo and Nany, Melissa and Nicole, Katie, Veronica, Devon, and Shane. Turbo and Nany get 1 vote, and that is by Ashley and Dario. And then Shane is frustrated and tries to call out and make everybody aware that Frank and Sam are star holders. And this all stems from Katie and Veronica voting in Ashley and Dario, that it is strictly based off of strategy. And when TJ says, can you elaborate more? Katie says, no, I will not divulge my strategy to you. But Frank steps up and tells everybody what the house wants to accomplish is get 2 star holders in, 1 star holder comes back, and then the other star is up for grabs in the next daily challenge. So with Frank saying that the house will be looking at star holders, Shane says, who are the star holders? So Shane is just reminding everybody that Frank and Sam are star holders. They should be on the table and they should be looked at being sent in to the elimination, especially after the house vote where Adam and Steve talk with Shane and Devon, and Shane tells Adam and Steve that if you send in Turbo and Nany against Ashley and Dario, and Ashley and Dario come back into the challenge house, that Frank still has his number 1 and numbers on his side, and because of that, then the next time Adam and Steve are vulnerable and Frank and Sam have any power, they're going to push for Adam and Steve to be sent into the elimination. Now, Adam does push back on this, saying that I have Frank's word, I even shook his hand, and both Shane and Devon say that you cannot trust Frank, no matter what. And I mean, prior to going to the elimination, Adam did tell Frank that his name is still on the table. get prepared because we could send you down there. But in the interest of Adam and Steve, I'm sorry to say, if you have this chance, this opportunity to send in Nany and Turbo, Ashley and Dario against each other, I mean, that opens the floodgates for Adam and Steve. Like, who could take down Adam and Steve if Turbo and Nany and Ashley and Dario are both out of this game, or one of them even gets out of the game? I think that Adam and Steve do the right decision when everybody goes to the arena and Adam and Steve send in Turbo and Nany for this week's elimination called Hold Up. In this elimination, there are puzzle pieces all over the arena. One person from each pair will have to run and collect all the puzzle pieces. They have 3 minutes to try to put this star puzzle together while their teammate is holding it up via this pulley system. They will rotate every 3 minutes. The first team to put this star puzzle together correctly will win. This elimination was fine. It's another puzzle. It wasn't very thrilling. It wasn't very exciting. I wish, because we had Turbo and Nany, Ashley and Dario, 2 very alike teams that have very good skills and kind of match each other well, I was kind of hoping we would get a different sort of elimination and kind of keep this for when maybe Adam and Steve is versing, I don't know, Nicole and Melissa, or Veronica and Katie, you know? Like, this is an elimination that anybody could play and anybody could win. Overall, Dario was able to collect all the puzzle pieces the quickest between him and Turbo, but it was Turbo on the second go around of his turn that was able to put this puzzle together. So Turbo and Nany win. I think if you're Adam and Steve, either way, you're happy about this. If you're Frank and Sam, you're not so happy to see a very close ally, your number 1 in the game, go. But Frank says that Veronica goes right into that number 1 spot for him. Upon being declared the winner, Nany hugs Turbo and says that he is the best partner that Nany has ever had. And that's gotta hurt Johnny Bananas, who was Nany's partner in 2 different seasons. To me, this is tough seeing Ashley and Dario go. I was really rooting for them. As people may know, I'm a big Dario fan because he got too hype in an elimination. I thought they really worked well together, and I would love to see them back on the show, possibly working again alongside each other, but alas, they were eliminated and their season ended past the midway point. I think they should be proud with how far they came. Everybody's leaving the arena excited, especially if you're somebody who does not have a star. If you're Melissa and Nicole, Devon and Shane, or Katie and Veronica, you're excited because now there's an opportunity for you to possibly win a star in the next daily challenge. And that puts a lot of pressure because next episode is episode 9. This season is coming to an end very, very soon. There's only 12 episodes. There's 6 teams left in this game after this episode. I mean, this is imperative to win because, like Shane said at the end of this episode, this could be your final opportunity to win a star without having to go into an elimination. So the 3 teams I just mentioned will be going as hard as they can to get this star, and I cannot wait. But that is it for this week's episode. I will say that the last 3 episodes have been really, really good. I think this episode was fine. I don't think it was as exciting or messy as the past few weeks. I think it was a little bit of a dip, but only a little bit. I think it was very exciting to see 2 star holding teams to go up against each other. I think the elimination and the daily challenge was very bleh. I think the drama was a little bit hit or miss, like the whole thing with Turbo sleeping in the living room. Just, I guess that's messy, I guess that's drama, but it doesn't really have anything to do with this game. I guess it was just like, fine, you know, I think it was okay. I do feel like some of that was a little bit for the cameras, which isn't a bad thing. Everything is supposed to be for the cameras, but I did not find it as entertaining as the past 3 episodes. But I still think it was a good episode. It's still better than when we started off sending in Adam and Steve over and over and over again. It was very predictable. So I'm looking forward to next week's in particular because of the star up for grabs, as well as getting so close to the final. People are going to backstab, lie, argue, manipulate, do whatever they can to get to that final. And it's so close. It's going to be in the next few episodes. That is going to be no holds bar for the rest of the season, and I cannot wait. But now I want to turn it over to you. What'd you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you think that this was as exciting as the past 3 episodes, Or do you think there was a little bit of a dip like myself? Let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think about the daily challenge? What do you think about the elimination? Are you sad to see Ashley and Dario get eliminated? And what do you think about Turbo sleeping in the living room? Let me know anything and everything down in the comments section below. And I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge All-Star Rivals content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.